But you know what? He didn't care if he did.
Go ahead.
He didn't care if Trey Lance did get hurt.
And that has me feeling some type of way, Steiny. I'm in my feelings. I was like, how are you going to? And then you said, I got a better option behind him, and we saw it. And as crazy as this is, and as mad as I am at Kyle, and people get damn if you're mad, Goo, they're a better football team today. And like Willard just talked about it, I'm not mad at the players for feeling that way. They just, last January, were vying to go to the Super Bowl. I just feel bad for the kid in his future.
Well, if we're talking, let me get my bag out of the way. If we're talking about what the team thinks, okay, or if it's here's my thing.
Yeah.
If it's a foregone conclusion that Jimmy Garoppolo right now is a better quarterback than Trey Lance, why didn't Jimmy Garoppolo start week 1?
Because the politics
that's okay. Well, that's going to get you beat
but Kyle
in the
did
locker
that.
room.
Okay,
but
wow.
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. You can get 20 guys together and say, we're going to go to Trey Lance. And they can be great professionals and say, all right, let's give it a try. But you ended up playing, if it's correct, you didn't even play the best quarterback.
No.
Like what kind of, what message is that to the other 50-plus guys on the team?
And what victory lap phrase were you saying, Steiny, where you said they were trying to develop and win at the same time? It still has yet to be done.
It's a crackpot notion. We all knew it at the time. And we talked a lot last week about Kyle Shanahan, and that's kind of my issue with him. Even yesterday at the podium, there's a smugness about him where
arrogance.
He just doesn't. He didn't take responsibility, any kind of responsibility for that. And the mere notion that you question, how do you develop a quarterback and try to win a Super Bowl at the same year? The disdain he has for people who even think that's the case, that's what's maddening. And it's not just guys like you and me. It's respected football people. We're saying this is very, very strange. Now, maybe Jimmy Garoppolo leads the 49ers to the Super Bowl.
But who would be shocked, Steiny? He should have never not been starting. And that's why I keep going first 48, true detective, because, again, I know what sports loves looks like, Steiny. And when you got a pitcher and you're worried about his arm, you look at the pitch count. You want to save him from yourself. Kyle never did that to Trey Lance. He treated him like a running back, a fullback, and he put him in harm's way time and time again. What about empowering the kid to throw 3 interceptions and at least you demonstrate, you know what? I trust the kid. Work on it. Trey, that never happened. And yesterday, Steiny, you know what stunk? It was not Trey on the ground grabbing his face mask. It was the play calls after he left the game. You kidding me? Now Jimmy Garoppolo again is Bart Starr, and he's throwing deep. That was foul to me. And maybe I'm in a camp all by myself, but that was the stench of that. And now I'm just bothered that his smugness and his arrogance that got Trey out for the year, he gets to go, oh, hey, Jimmy, come in. We're better than we were with the starter that I named that shouldn't even been the starter. That's weak.
888-957-9570. Trey Lance hurt yesterday, out for the season. Jimmy Garoppolo, now the 49ers starter. There's so many angles, so many opinions. Share them with us. 888-957-9570. That's also the Comcast business text line. You want to check us out on YouTube or Twitch, you can do that. Just search 95.7 The Game. We've got a lot of people on there right now, so we'll make sure to acknowledge those guys. The bottom line also is that, and this is, to me, the big issue, is Kyle Shanahan moved up in the draft, used 2 first-round picks for a player who can't throw, or certainly can't throw out of the pocket. See, the bottom line is he's played 4 games, like I said. In those 4 games, he's carried 49 times. So in the games, essentially, that Trey Lance has quarterbacked, he's run 12 times a game. If that doesn't tell you what he thinks of Trey Lance as a thrower, I don't know what to tell you. And I think there was at some point this summer, maybe right before they kept Jimmy on the team, where Kyle Shanahan said, we are going to really have trouble being successful with Trey Lance right now because he's kind of one-dimensional. And so at that time, they were committed to Trey Lance because Jimmy Garoppolo hadn't even been on the team at this point, essentially. So they get Trey Lance to start because he has to, but you have to utilize his legs, because if you don't utilize his legs, then he's a half a quarterback. He's half a quarterback right now. So if you take his legs away, he's nothing.
Okay.
So Kyle Shanahan had no choice but to roll the dice and run Lance like a lot, because you couldn't throw him 25 times sitting in the pocket.
Okay. And I know how you feel about Kyle, the man, and the listener, Steiny, but that's twofold. We're talking about one of the most creative offensive play designers in the game. You're telling me that's the only way you can use Lance is power, to where you're taking the vicious hits that he was subjecting himself to? He couldn't even slide in that instance when he got hurt because the play didn't even allow it. Like, there was no creativity. There was like, hey, man, just take on it. Hey, if you get hurt, we got Jimmy. And that's what that reeked of. That's what's so sad. And then to pop off in the post-game presser is if somebody was asking you for your social security number and you're so blind to the fact that the naked eye fans could see that you were just putting this kid in harm's way. Man, I just hate. And again, I'm not a Niner fan. Antonio Ortega put this, a follower on my Facebook, Steiny, said, I'm hearing too many names. I'm a 49er fan. I care about the emblem. I care about the logo. My team won, and too many fans are set tripping. And that hit me too, like, okay, the team did win. And maybe they are better, Steiny. They are, because they got a more experienced quarterback. Were we getting caught up in who's behind center too much?
Yes and no. Yes, because we talked about it a lot. No, because Kyle Shanahan invited this.
No doubt about it.
He invited Jimmy Garoppolo. And how about this? The Jimmy Garoppolo-Trey Lance problem. What if he went out to get Trey Lance because he knew? Maybe they kept Jimmy. When did they keep Jimmy? At the point they knew they were going to be in a little trouble if they started Trey Lance and he was their starting quarterback. Again,
wow, man.
Again, I think it's
it sucks.
I think it stinks. I think this situation's been mismanaged a little bit, but I'll say it right now, Kyle Shanahan can still come out of this smelling like a rose.
I need to hear about that.
If Jimmy Garoppolo leads this team to the playoffs and deep into the playoffs.